Hello, my name is William Hilliard. Um, Today I would like to do a video on the seven churches of Revelation, a quick one, so you all will know who these seven churches are. Unfortunately, I've been trying for a couple of days to get a video out on this, and my devices, TVs, phones, and everything's been kind of hacked into. So here's the video. I'm going to do a quick one, try and get it out here before things get messed up. Excuse me. In the book of Revelations, chapters 2 and 3, seven churches: Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamos, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, and Laodicea. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give you the answers. Ephesus is Judaism. Smyrna is the Way, Jesus Christ Church. Pergamos is Christianity. Thyatira is the Roman Catholic Church. Sardis is Islam. Philadelphia is the Protestant movement. And Laodicea is like a corporate church, the box churches you see nowadays. So, one thing I want to point out, the book of Revelation is written by John, and he sent these letters up into modern-day Turkey on a mail route, like a distribution line, 3 going up, 4 going down. And that's kind of important because it mirrors how it's written in Revelation. 3 going up, 4 going down. 7 churches. These 3 churches, the first 3, the reward, it tells you what they overcome, then the reward's given. Over in these other 4 churches, they're flipped. And there's a reason. You want to focus on these first 3, because from these first 3 going out in time, these are who the true God is. And what I mean by that is, if you look at these 3 churches, we know there's an Antichrist. So within these 3 churches, we will see who the Antichrist is. So again, I'm not saying Christians are Antichrist, but I'm saying there is an Antichrist within the religion, within the book. You will see this. In Ephesus, you got Judaism. And we can read that. Let me get that here real quick. It says, "These things saith the he that holdeth 7 stars in his right hand, and walketh in the midst of the golden candlestick." So Jesus, who came in the flesh during the time of Judah and trying to bring the lost sheep of Israel back into the fold, was trying to warn the Jews at that time. And him going after his resurrection and defeating death and coming out of it and going to heaven, we see here that what it says here, walks in the midst of the candlesticks. So he came in the flesh, he spread the words from the Father, and of course the words itself talks to Jesus through Moses and the prophets. And so they're going out. Remember Jesus when he's crucified, blood and water. And the blood's going to be in the book and moving out. The water and the Spirit's going to take them out through time, through these different churches, taking his word or his name. So he walks in the midst of these churches going through time. Okay? So in the second verse of chapter 2, it talks about a false apostle. And that's Paul. Okay, I'm going to just be blunt. It's Paul. Found him liars, called it's either Paul or John. I'm going John every day. So it says here, "Also, nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left the first love." Here's the key for this church right here. This is Jesus telling Judah, you left your first love. Remember King David? Remember when he had all the boys together, all 12 tribes? That marveled. That made God happy. That's what he means there in that verse. And did Judah listen? No. But there was a hireling shepherd out in the field during that time too, and we'll see him in Pergamos. Anyway, real quick, the reward here coming out, talking about the Jews eating the tree of life in the paradise of God. Well, we know a future kingdom's coming, and within that new paradise, you got a new tree of life. And what that means is, get rid of some false doctrine here, okay? And this false doctrine, remember I said Antichrist, that's Paul. He's been with us ever since. The people out there who don't know the word, or the elites, the people who do know the word and use it as fear-based the whole time. Because they know that the Antichrist was Paul. And they had that truth from you and lorded it over you. Then he created another religion, Islam. It's false too. Because when it talks about the locusts in Revelation, the two armies, the one with the serpent tail, excuse me, and a scorpion tail, Islam and Catholics. That's how the holy wars and all that started. Greed is a bad thing. Anyway, I'm going to hit these real quick. Smyrna, of course, is the way, the church that Jesus formed, per se, kind of like a church. He got his 12 disciples, put Peter in charge to spread this message, to spread these words through time. So when we come to this time, the truth will reveal itself to show who the liar is and who the false prophet is. Because that's why kingdoms rise and fall over time. Because if you have a lie here and there, that will break down not only morality and morals, it'll break down. So, talk about the new kingdom that is coming. Well, first, who planteth, who soweth, the other must reapeth. Remember Yahweh, his son, Yeshua HaMashiach. And don't forget the spirit of truth, the WH, the who, what, when, why, and where. So, again, Smyrna was persecuted for spreading the words for Jesus. And it says here, something about the synagogue. Let me find. I know that blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are a synagogue of Satan. This is a prelude to the next church coming up, which is Pergamos. So you got Smyrna and Pergamos banging heads, and we can see in Pergamos the doctrine's all messed up, and because they twisted it. So you got these two churches that are one with Christ, in a sense, because he is the word, and you got this Pergamos church that broke away. So out of these three churches, we see who the Antichrist is. Can you see that, people? Two churches in Pergamos. Pergamos is Christianity back in Jesus' time. Back in Paul's time up in Antioch. And to expound on that, in the letters of John, it says to test the spirits, to see if they are of God. And we know in Acts, at the council at Jerusalem, Peter says, I told the Gentiles. Then Paul and Barnabas says, oh, look at the miracles we did. Did not Jesus say, watch out to those who perform miracles? And didn't James come right after that and say, yeah, Peter did talk to the Gentiles. Then they sent him out with a couple things about sacrifice and idols and blood, staying from blood and all that. Send them out. They went up to Antioch. They get in a big old argument. They split up. Barnabas goes this way. Paul goes this way. Guess Satan's kingdoms don't divide or are divided. But we didn't hear nothing about Paul in Acts, did we? But we read later in Paul's writings that they had an argument. But you don't hear no more about Peter in the book of Acts, do we? And we always see Paul's always around Jesus' disciples. The last time you see Peter, Paul was there. Last time you hear about James in the book of Acts, Paul was there. And here John shares Ephesus kind of with Paul. But we see John is the one loved most by Jesus. And Paul, his conversion story doesn't add up to 3 times. You can see that he didn't have patience because John talked good of the silversmith, because it takes time to see God. God has patience. Paul didn't have patience because he wanted to cause chaos. And speaking of chaos, aren't they using that today? Think about it. They're just trying to control you by chaos, aren't you? Throw 50 things out there on the news and you don't know what to do. Most people just don't even turn it on no more. Good job, America. Or excuse me, psychiatrists of America. I mean, didn't y'all learn in your history class of Germany? So who's standing up for these sheep? Psychiatrists. So, and look at all the other similarities. King Herod going out killing babies to get Jesus. Here in 1973, we have abortion. We got corona now. Oh, Jesus. He had to deal with leprosy. Oh, remember, there's Luke the doctor following them. I'm sure I got a doctor following me all the time, too. What other parallels? The truth? Yeah, we see how this religion or Pergamus just turned the words around, huh? Just turn on your TV. You don't know who's telling the truth anymore, do you? Well, let me get off my little soapbox there. So, in Pergamus, it talks about the Satan seat, Satan throne. Satan, where he dwelleth, is in Antioch, and his throne was where he's last preaching up there with a Roman centurion guarding the door. And he was up there because they threw him out of the temple in Jerusalem in the middle of the week and shut the gates. It talks about the doctrine of Balak and all that. You know, Jews should know that, huh? They know when they read the letters of Paul, they know, ooh. I don't have to say no more. Okay, let's get in Sardis here. Let's go ahead and take care of them too while we're at it. No, we'll Thyatira real quick. Thyatira says, Son of God, who has eyes like flame of fire and a feet of fine brass. Thyatira being the Roman Catholic Church who put this book together, who put the Old Testament, the Gospels of Jesus, and the letters of Paul, put them all together. So in this half of the book, Jesus and Paul, you got Jesus looking at the false prophet, flames in his eyes because the false prophet is fire in Revelation. And now you know that Paul is a false prophet. And that's why there's flames in his fires, because their books are next to each other through time. And it says, Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because you suffers that woman Jezebel. And Jesus, what he's telling the Roman Catholic Church is, you got Pergamus in my book. Pope, y'all didn't know this? Set up on your phone, Vicar of Christ. Where were you when Corona came out? Give us the truth of Christ. It says here, Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and with them commit adultery. with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds. And it says here, I will kill her children with death. Remember the fourth rider, the fourth horse, death, and another one comes behind it, Hades. Remember Jesus came in on an ass, riding this book through now on a false prophet. But he brought a colt with him, didn't it? For the king now to set on it, because we know Islam is false too. So let me just hop right on to Sardis. Sardis being Islam. It says here, these things saith he that had the seven spirits of God. Yahweh's my Father. And the seven stars, I know thy works. Thou hast a name. See, they hast a name. That liveth but are dead. So, just follow the national progression of time. You know, Israel going through all that. Then Jesus comes on board spreading his message. And the Roman Catholic Church putting it together. Then here comes this new religion pretending to be alive. But Jesus says they're dead. Right here in Revelations chapter 3. He said, be watchful and strengthen the things which remain that are ready to die, for I have not found the works perfect before God. He said, remember, therefore, how those received and heard, and hold fast and repent. If therefore they should not watch, I will come unto thee as a thief. Well, when you're looking one way and just glorying after a prophet and forgetting about the greatest prophet of all, because Revelation is the spirit of prophecy, spirit of Jesus. But even in Sardis and Islam, there's a few people who did not follow their garments, and they're welcome to the way. The way is to cut the lies out and get rid of the Antichrist and the false prophet. So we can all live under one God, Yahweh. And it says here, he that overcometh shall be clothed in white raiment, and I will not blot his name out of the book of life. So when we get in this new kingdom, trim the lamps up. And those who believe and want to walk in the way of truth, your names will not be blotted out. Join the party, man. I'm just a little ticked off right now what I got to deal with out here. You try to be nice and get spit on. And it says here, I will not blot out his name in the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. In Philadelphia, that sounds like it's in America. Let me tell you about America. I love America. She was good. She got a little dirty. But let me tell you what God's been putting in my heart. He said, remember Jesus when he went down to the Nile in Egypt when he was a little kid? Remember Herod and all that? Well, there's only two rivers that flow north in America. Or excuse me, in the world. And one is here in America. And that's the Monongahela, which flows from West Virginia up to Pittsburgh and down. Kind of like that mail route. Anyway, my heart's been telling me Fairmont, West Virginia, the base of that river, is where the new kingdom begins. So, in Laodicea, what do I have to say? You either want us or you don't. mean, in Laodicea it talks about the throne. I'm here. Nice knowing you. And I'll try to do another video later on. Got a semi truck just parked right behind me, so I'll talk to y'all later.